All right, let's now shift our attention to the other political story from the United States of America. The 2028 U.S. presidential election is at least 2 years away, but it has been an open secret that Vice President J.D. Vance and the Secretary of State Marco Rubio are amongst the front runners for a Republican nomination. The duo have also now received a pretty big endorsement from Donald Trump himself. Now, responding to a question on the Republican candidates during a podcast interview, Trump said that J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio make a great team. And if they were to team up for the 2028 presidential run, they would be unbeatable. Listen.
Good. They're both very talented. So they're both great. Well, yeah. I like them both. And I like them together. You know, it would be great. I don't know how you beat them if they're together. That would be a great team.
However, neither Marco Rubio nor J.D. Vance has formally entered the 2028 race so far, but both of them have downplayed their 2028 ambitions. But Trump has continued to fuel succession talks. Now, this isn't the first time that Donald Trump has suggested that J.D. Vance and Rubio would be strong candidates to succeed him in the White House. Last month, Trump had said that the two of them would be a dream team in the 2028 elections. Now, Trump has also repeatedly floated the idea that he himself might seek a third term. Now, Trump's comments have also come just days after a report from the New York Times that said that Trump has repeatedly questioned Vance's political strength and electability in conversations with aides and allies. Now, according to the New York Times report, Trump has frequently compared Vance's accomplishments to his own and has questioned everything from the vice president's vacation schedule to his foreign policy positions. Now, Trump has also reportedly criticized J.D. Vance's initial opposition to the military war that he started against Iran and has publicly reminded him of that disagreement. Reports say that the rift between Trump and Vance widened over Pope Leo's comments on the Iran war. While Trump had launched some personal attacks on the Pope, J.D. Vance initially attempted to downplay the dispute and instead urged the Vatican to stick to morality and leave U.S. foreign policy to the American president. However, despite these differences, Trump has continued to involve J.D. Vance in major decisions and has refuted reports of differences with Vance publicly. All right, now joining us all the way from New York, we've got our correspondent Susan Tehrani. Susan, this is an interesting comment by Donald Trump where he says that Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance will make a dream team, and if they were to team up together, they would be unbeatable. The question I want you to weigh in on is, Donald Trump has a certain persona and charisma that has energized the MAGA constituency in the United States of America. Do J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio also have the same pull on the MAGA constituency?
Yeah, you know, when Donald Trump came into the arena, he was an outsider, and that was one of the reasons why he had so much appeal. He wasn't part of the quote-unquote Washington swamp, as many MAGA individuals like to call it, and he, as he had alluded to before. J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, they are in the Trump administration, but prior to becoming part of the administration, they were senators in Washington. And Marco Rubio being a very respected senator, and then J.D. Vance sort of coming in a little later. He is much younger. So, you know, we'll have to see whether or not they have that appeal and charisma and that personality. We have seen them being very outspoken, you know, have populist tendencies. But, you know, Donald Trump was just a different phenomena, a different beast, if you may. But I think the reason he's saying this would be a dream team is because the two of them together combined can attract, you know, two different parts of the MAGA movement. You know, the more isolationists, J.D. Vance would sort of take on workers and the Rust Belt, and more nuanced MAGAs, so to say. But then you have someone like Marco Rubio, who, you know, has international policy experience on the one hand, but he's in a lot of ways viewed, at least, to be a more traditional Republican. So, you know, I think that's what he meant when he said it would be a dream team, because them combined may be able to attract more voters. The question is whether or not ultimately this is a ticket that can attract more independent voters, or even Democrats would come to the Republican side and vote for them come 2028 if these two individuals are on the ticket. But the question now many are asking is, if it is a ticket, is it going to be a Rubio-Vance ticket, or is it going to be a Vance-Rubio ticket? And again, I bring up J.D. Vance's age. You know, he's very young. He's about 10 years younger than Marco Rubio. So it'll be interesting to watch. But, you know, nonetheless, we have a long way to go.
It's still early days. That, of course, is true. Thank you very much indeed, Susan, for joining us with that perspective there.